This is Gilbert Andrew Garcia of A Tip from Gilbert, talk, inspiration, and prayer. Listen to my show every Monday from 11 to 12 on KWWJ 1360 AM, KYOK 1140 AM, KCOH at 1230 KCOH.com, Sangeet Radio at 95.1 FM, 1460 AM, and Latino Sports, KEYH 850 AM. Call in at 832-570-8075 and follow me on social media. See you then. Harris County, you have me, Gilbert Garcia, with another tip from me. Talk, inspiration, and prayer. And, you know, this is going to be a very fun show. And, of course, everyone remembers, or at least people my age remember, Ed Sullivan. It's a really big show, because who can remember, who cannot remember, it's fun to stay at the YMCA. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. Well, guess what we have? We have the YMCA, Mr. Stephen Ives, who's the head of the YMCA of the Greater Houston area. He's the president and the CEO. And I happen to have very strong relationships with the Y because I have coached, as a lot of you know, about 40 seasons of youth soccer. And we did it there on the Weekly Y, which is right there on Stella Link. Wonderful people. And I grew up with everyone there. And we're going to talk a lot about it because the YMCA really helped shape my kids. And it really helped me really meet the other parents and the young kids in the neighborhood. So the YMCA is one of those things that does a lot of stuff. And we're going to hear a lot about it right now. Mr. Ives, Stephen, thank you for being on the show.
Gilbert, thank you for having me.
Did you like how I sang, though? Was it?
You know, you did all right.
Well, I need to work on that.
You even got the hand motions.
There you go. There you go. So let me ask you, how long have you been with the YMCA?
I've been with the YMCA for 38 years.
38 years? Mm-hmm. Come on.
This YMCA for 7 years. I started in Maine and have served Ys in Maine, Massachusetts, Columbus, Ohio, and now Houston, Texas.
You must have started when you were like 7 years old because you don't look old enough to have been at a place for 38 years.
It keeps you young, being active and doing good work and having purpose.
Well, so you've been here 7 years. Mm-hmm. That is amazing. Did they like recruit you from another Y, or how did that happen?
That's exactly what happened. I was at the Columbus, Ohio YMCA, and Cambrell Marshall was the chair of the board, and the committee reached out to me and asked me to come down and explore this.
How wonderful. Well, you know, Cambrell Marshall, everyone knows Cambrell,
right?
And including I, we're good friends. And, you know, I've been on his show when he had it, Newsmakers, and of course he's been on my show. What a prince he is.
He sure is.
He's probably got to be the best chairman of a board that a president and CEO could ever work with.
I would agree. And I've worked with a lot of them. So I would put him right there. And hey, man, I couldn't think of a better partner to have, especially as we were navigating through COVID.
Yeah. Oh, I can only imagine. I'd like to talk about that in a moment.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. When there was a young Stephen Ives, you know, did you ever think, you know, one day I'm going to lead one of the biggest nonprofits around, and one day, you know, I mean, did you ever think about that?
I thought about having impact and having a life of purpose and being in service. And I knew that, you know, in my heart of hearts, I wanted to do it at scale. My dad is a United Methodist minister.
Is that right? Well, then
he retired as the Bishop of West Virginia. So I had a role model of doing things, you know, at the height of a person's career.
Very interesting. Do we have a caller already there? We have a caller already. That was fast. And by the way, keep those calls coming. 832-570-8075 with me, a tip from me, Gilbert Garcia, with Mr. Stephen Ives of the YMCA. But Debbie, are you there? Debbie.
Yes, I had you on mute.
No worries, Debbie. You have me, Gilbert Garcia, and Stephen Ives of the YMCA. What do you got for us, or what do you want to share with Houston and Harris County right now?
Hi, Gilbert and Stephen. It's nice for you to be there so that we can do this. Richard Morris is with me. And we are, we're going to announce a benefit dinner that we're hosting to raise money for children of El Salvador.
Oh, no kidding.
So this benefit dinner is going to be Sunday, September 21st. At Brennan's of Houston. It's going to be a celebrity chef dinner. And let me give you a little bit of background about why we're doing this benefit. We personally have friends that were affected by gang members that used to control the country of El Salvador. And we know that these people that we know in Houston, El Salvadorans, friends, can now go home and visit their family without fear. And their family firsthand has told us that they can now walk to the park, they can walk to church, they can have their children walk to school without fear. And it was a long time that they couldn't do this.
I'm familiar with El Salvador a little bit because, I've been a supporter of a big festival that they do every year, and I've been to El Salvador. It's a wonderful country. And
it is with lots of resources.
Yeah. And there's mountains, there's beach, there's friendly people, there's culture. It's fantastic. And it's such an easy flight. It's only like, if I'm not mistaken, 2.5 hours or something like that.
Right.
And United has lots of flights, and it's really easy to get through customs. I love it.
Surfers love it.
Yes. No, the water's beautiful. So let me ask you this. How many people do you think live El Salvadorians in the Houston area? Do you know? And if you don't know, no worries. But do you know by any chance? I know it's a big population.
I think it's 600,000 or 700,000.
Yeah, I think it's a big number like that. And it's very interesting when you go back to the history, because in the 80s, when there was all the Civil War and everything, a lot of people fled the country and came to the U.S. And if I'm not mistaken, they were granted citizenship right away, because that was part of the whole thing, because they were really fleeing their country. Times were really terrible. And I know the president has made cleaning up the gangs really one of his hallmarks. So amen for that. Well, tell us more. So
a little bit. El Salvador now boasts the lowest homicide rate in all of Latin America. The crackdowns have also resulted in broken homes, fatherless children, an entire generation of wives, children, and young people searching for answers after the incarceration of loved ones. So the families of many of the victims of the gang's terrorized and murders have also left behind children, contributing to the orphanages being filled to maximum capacity. So while the local churches are doing what they can to help these families, pastors lack the appropriate support and spiritual resources to meet the need in the orphanages.
Very interesting.
We have teamed up with an organization, a 501c3 organization called Biblica, that prints and distributes Bibles in native languages all over the world. And so we have teamed up with them to have a budget to create some children's resources in Spanish to give to pastors that we've met down there in El Salvador that are begging for these resources.
Mm-hmm.
So they are, there's a book called Survivor, which is for smaller children, that talks about a big oak tree that gets windblown and tramped on, but still survives. And so it's a little children's book.
Oh, how wonderful.
And then there's a Reach for Life, which is for adolescents going through adolescent things and self-image and practicing drugs and different things. So Reach for Life. And then there's treasures, Bible treasures, which leads you through a little Bible scriptures and little exercises according to certain scriptures.
Well, before we sign off with you, I didn't mean to cut you off. I want to make sure, tell us again, it's September 21st, right?
September 21st.
And it's at Brennan's.
6 p.m. It's at Brennan's.
6 p.m.
It's called 6 p.m. It's called Hope and Healing for El Salvador.
What's the website, or how does someone get a ticket, or how do we do that?
The website. It is
or do people just go and show up, or
it should be on the Brennan's website. We need to check that, but biblicaevents.com/Houston.
Well, wonderful.
And we can send something to you. We can send the invitation to you that has the purchase ticket link on it.
Go ahead, send it to me, and I'll make sure I talk about it on the show going forward too, between here and there.
That's great. So we have these celebrity chefs that are going to do little small plates, and we'll have a silent auction and some other things to try to raise this money to buy these books
Wonderful.
Mm.
Well, I'm showing it right now. Debbie, thank you for calling in, and we hope it's a very successful event.
Thank you so much, Gilbert.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
you.
You're welcome. Stephen, let's go back to something because, people forget when they hear of the YMCA,
Right.
it's Young Men's Christian Association.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people forget the Christian part.
Right.
What's been going on with the YMCA about somehow, I don't know, elevating that or doing more with that?
It's a connection with our history. So in 1844, George Williams was very concerned about the young men coming into the cities in the Industrial Revolution and the need for something positive for them to build community. And the Young Men's Christian Association was formed really as a way for young men to have Bible study together. That's our history. That's our founding. It's in our name. And so over the last 3 or 4 years, we've really been working hard here in Houston to elevate Christian presence with and through our work. We have a prayer breakfast. We got some funding and hired a Christian emphasis director. We're building community with the pastors in the area and churches. We have about 20 different churches that operate within our YMCAs. A lot of people aren't aware of this, but we're very much in the business of, for us, focusing on the Christian principles and just what it means to live a life that's designed or informed by the teachings of Jesus Christ.
You know what? I never knew any of that. And here I am. I was very involved with it because you know what? This is going to sound terrible.
Yeah.
But I think of it as a way for almost like a community center.
Right.
And the YMCA in our community was like the heartbeat of the community.
Right.
And there was blood drives, there was yoga classes, there's a pool, there's, courts, basketball courts, there's soccer. I mean, it really was like a heartbeat and like a community center.
Yeah.
And so I just never really saw that.
Well, those are the things we do.
Yep.
But we do it to build community, and we do it with certain principles in mind, like caring and honesty and respect and responsibility and love and compassion, all the things that are the core principles of a Christian mindset.
Amen. Let me ask you this, if you don't mind.
Sure.
How many YMCAs are there in the greater Houston area?
So there's 21 that you would consider YMCAs in terms of our traditional facilities.
Yes.
We also have 148 childcare locations and about 30 or 40 outreach locations that are happening in apartment complexes or in other community centers. So we've got a broad reach throughout the greater Houston region.
That's huge. You know what? Houston, say that all again.
21 facilities.
No, that's unbelievable.
Yep.
Because that's what I think of, like a community center.
Yeah.
So there's 21 facilities.
We also have 148 plus childcare centers, most working within schools, some independently.
And tell me more about that part of it.
So we have several preschools that we run, early childhood education, but we also have about 5,000 kids that are involved in after-school enrichment programs, which is about building community, having connections, a safe place to be, as well as a way to enhance academic performance.
That's fantastic. And there are, this is an unfair word to say, but I can't think of another one. There are actual educators that are there with these young kids after school and so forth.
Yeah, our staff have a curriculum which includes education enrichment, as well as just building out the social skills that are needed for young people to be successful in life.
That is so great. I applaud you. Let's go back. Is there a John there? John, are you on the phone? We got another caller here.
Yes, I am.
John, what do you got for either me, Gilbert Garcia, for me with Mr. Stephen Ives of the YMCA? What do you got?
This is a question for you, Mr. Ives. I was curious. So we see all these CEOs nowadays, and they're running their companies trying to just maximize profits. What's interesting about the YMCA is that they also want to do charity and give back to the community. So obviously, as a CEO, you want to show increased profit margins, but you also want to stay true to this mission of helping grow the community, working alongside humanitarian efforts, helping support like hurricanes and homelessness and human trafficking. So how do you balance these two tenets?
Oh, wow.
That's full. That's
a great question. And
Yeah.
thank you. We like to apply the tenet of no margin, no mission. So you have the work of the business of the Y, which is about generating revenue to cover the operating expenses. And then we layer in our philanthropy to help us have deeper impact. So when people give to the YMCA, they give to the actual service that's happening. My salary, the administration overhead, all of that gets handled by the business of the Y. We think of a balanced scorecard when we think of the YMCA. There's the financial performance, there's the community impact, et cetera, but it also equally weighs how much of an impact are we having? How much are we actually moving the needle on the social issues that matter for our community? So thank you for the question. And that's one of the unique things is why I'm in the YMCA, not in some other kind of corporations, applying many of the same skills of leadership. I went and got my MBA as part of my development in the YMCA, mostly so I could understand the power of business and then translate that into how we put the power of business to use for social good with and through the not-for-profit agency called the YMCA.
Well, John, thank you. You know what's interesting, John, is I had read that the annual Y revenue is $130 million.
Right.
That's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That is huge, John. That's like a big company.
Right.
Touche to you to be able to handle it all, to be a good leader, as well as you're just such a personal person that I'm sure people just enjoy working with you.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I enjoy working with them.
There's no doubt.
Yeah.
John, what else do you got there, pal? Any follow-up?
Not really. Thank you so much. It's so interesting being able to see an ethical CEO, both interested in increasing the business, but also giving back to the community. It's something rare these days. It's really great to see. So thank you so much, Mr. Ives, and thank you, Mr. Garcia.
Thank you, John.
John, thank you for bringing it up. We have another caller on the line, if you don't mind there, Mr. Stephen Ives. Is there a Jumpin' Jess? I think we all kind of know Jumpin' Jess. He's called in before. And he's, of course, a pillar in our community. Jumpin' Jess, are you there? Jumpin' Jess. Jess, what do you got, pal?
Oh, I just want to welcome Mr. Ives to Houston and ask him a question. We used to have a YMCA in the southeast side of Houston off 610 and Broadway. It was a major YMCA with rooms and a gym and all the programs. I used to coach soccer and basketball there, like you, Gilbert, and but it was flooded about 10 years ago, and there's been no replacement. And there's talk about teaming up with Mason Park, but what are the future plans for the YMCA in the East End?
Yeah, thank you. When I got here in 2018, that was just after Hurricane Harvey. I think it was Hurricane Harvey really that spelled the end of our ability and capacity to be able to operate in that facility. That was the Casa Boom Y in the East End. And one of the commitments I've had is to make sure we are relevant and present in the East End. So I mentioned earlier, we have YMCA centers. We also have school age sites and outreach locations. And so we've really focused over the last few years on how we engage with people in the East End. So we have a couple of our apartment complex and outreach locations there, as well as some senior programming and some efforts to work out of Mason Park, as you had alluded to. We're also in the continuous effort to think about our future. And my hope is that during my tenure here, we will reemerge with a more significant facility and presence in the East End. So we're working on it, I guess, is the best I can say.
Well, let me ask you this, and just stay with us, okay? Because I know you got more things to say. When you look at the YMCA, is it every year? Is there a plan we're going to have, a new facility every year? I mean, what's the 5-year plan for the YMCA,
Well, certainly we've got a 10-year vision.
Is there?
now.
Oh,
yeah,
tell us about it.
which is really about expanding our impact. And we're focused on what's measurable in our community in regards to achievement, belonging, and connection. And we think that if we do our job well, that people will feel more connected. You described it as you were talking about your experience.
Yes.
Was I got to know the other parents.
Mhm.
My kids got to know the other parents, felt the sense of connection and community. We know that there is a huge gap in our community around people's sense of belonging and connectedness. And so loneliness has been identified as the #1 health epidemic in America. And our goal is to find ways that we can do that, not just through what people recognize as a traditional facility, but also through our outreach efforts into other community centers, into parks like Mason Park and into apartment complexes. So we don't have a goal of opening a new Y every year. We have a goal of increasing our impact substantially over a 10-year period, which will include part of the strategy of going into some communities where we've left and or expanding our ability to serve people in the facilities that we have.
Wonderful. Jesse, what say you, my friend? Any other follow-up question you got?
Yeah, yes, sir. I was going to say, Mr. Ives, that what's the plans for serving the Hispanic community more? Because it seems like this, the Y is not present within the Hispanic community, and we're over 44% of Houston. So are any plans for reaching out to the Hispanic community for better service?
Well, we have Paula Mendoza as the chair of our board, who's been a leader in that community. And we have Rick Cruz as our chief operating officer recently, joined our team. For me, a lot about is having the right people on the team, both as volunteers and as staff, who can help us translate what's most needed, what's most wanted, how we can make sure our programs are relevant there. It is absolutely a primary focus as we start talking about expanding the degree of impact we have on social isolation and on community. Certainly an area that we're continuing to focus and work on in terms of how we deliver our programs and how we talk about our programs.
Well, we want you in the East End. We need you.
Yes.
Because our youth are, remember, we're the fastest growing population, we're the youngest population,
Yes.
and we want them involved because that builds character. That's what it's all about. What else you got there, Jess? Anything?
No, I just want to, like you, Gilbert, the YMCA is a great program, and that's why we need it in the Hispanic communities. It did a lot for my children, and I would like to do it for my grandchildren, but it's really not available as it used to be in the community anymore. So I like to see them reach out a little more and get more involved in the Hispanic community, and especially East End.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you very much for calling in, Jess. We always enjoy you. So let's come back. I know we have another caller already waiting, but before we go to that, I want to ask you a question, which is when you look at the Y, again, you think about swimming pool and all these great things that they do. I guess I did not realize how much you do outside that, meaning working with the kids after school. That's just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Has that always been part of the thrust? And go back to the origin of the founder.
Right.
And what, again, you talked about Bible study and things for men coming into the Industrial Revolution in the inner cities. That's remarkable.
I
mean,
well, the Bible study was the tool he used at the time.
Is that right?
To be able to connect people and to build the sense of community and hope and aspiration in a pretty desperate time for many of the men in the cities. And so we stay true to that. This YMCA in Houston, one of the things that attracted me to this YMCA was the work happening in outreach, the work happening with people who are escaping human trafficking, work happening with unaccompanied minors who are navigating the whole system of being safe in this country, and which has all taken, a different approach in the last 6 months.
Right.
But we're still there. And I think, a great story to kind of connect this all together is what happened during World War II. So during World War II, our country decided that Japanese internment camps were a good idea.
Right.
The Y didn't spend a whole lot of time fighting that. We just showed up. Y's emerged inside those internment camps.
No kidding.
To provide hope and inspiration and resources and support for the families that were there. We quietly go about doing the impact and the connectedness with people, and we'll continue to do that here in Houston.
There needs to be like a statue for him, because think about all the lives that one man with this one idea have touched in these 150 years. I mean, think about that.
Mm-hmm.
What a remarkable person he must have been. Let's go to the next question. We have another question there. Who was that name again there, Mr. Producer? Linda, are you there? Linda, speak to us.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, lady. Got me, Gilbert Garcia, the tip from me, with Mr. Stephen Ives of the YMCA. And tell us what you got today.
Well, Gilbert, I can say this much good about the Y. I was born during a period of time and alive in New York City, where the Y was the Mecca. It was the place to go for people that came from out of town to make it big in New York City and to live there. And I was a junior counselor at the Y, etc.
Wow. Thank you, Miss Linda. So let's keep going. So let's go back. So I guess I didn't realize that y'all does the YMCA act as a hotel? I mean, you have rooms, right?
We once did. This YMCA no longer has housing, but it's been historically YMCA's created rooms. It was traditionally for people coming into the city to work.
Right. Yeah. That's
so
what I
there were
thought.
A lot of folks from the Houston area that had their first home at the Y when they were coming to the Houston area.
Wow. How wonderful. And let me ask you this. What is the new administration? I'm not trying to get political here, but when you look at what's happening with nonprofits nationally with federal funding, et cetera, is that affecting the Y?
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell us about that.
So we were significant players in the refugee resettlement and immigration work that was happening here in Houston. So we have downsized that substantially as a result of changes in the funding cycle, trying to hold on to what we still can do as a result of what's still in play and still is being funded. But, we're resilient, and we pivot and we navigate into the ways in which we can provide the best service and the best impact in the community going forward.
But a lot of the nonprofits, because I've had some others on the show, the impact is significant.
Yeah, it's been significant.
I mean, significant
Mm-hmm.
declines in their revenue.
Mm-hmm.
What that means, Houston, Harris County, is we got to step up.
Mm-hmm.
We got to help these nonprofits because they're the ones serving the community. They're really filling the gap of things that we wish government could do, but is not doing, rightly or wrongly, without trying to be political. And we just got to get involved. I think the name of the game is we got to get involved.
Yes, thank you.
Got to get involved. And we got to support groups like the YMCA. So the YMCA, does it have an annual fund all the time, or does it have a gala? What do y'all do again for fundraising?
Yeah, so we do in person-to-person outreach primarily, and grant proposals. We have an annual support campaign, as we also do some capital fundraising. But all of that, like many other organizations, the difference is that when you give to the YMCA, it's not to keep the Y doors open, it's to help us expand our impact and to draw more people in. So every dollar we raise goes directly to either subsidizing services for people or providing access for those who can't afford it.
And is it, do you have a gala though? Do you have a luncheon?
We don't. It's something we're considering launching again in the future. But we really, it's our centers and our volunteers and our staff reaching out to individuals like yourself who have been involved, have a history, have a passion for what we're doing, and inviting them to make contributions to help others.
Are you all a United Way agency?
Yes, and we do receive funding from United Way for our child care and for our youth development work.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Well, let me go back to your, just let me know when there's another call there, producer. So let me go back. So your father was a minister.
Yes.
Is that what really was the hand that touched you?
I think
about getting involved?
I think so.
That's almost like the hand of God there, right?
I lived, my grandfather, my uncle, my father are all United Methodist ministers. My father went on to be a district superintendent and then a bishop in West Virginia. And my mother was a school teacher. I grew up caring for people and seeing what that looks like, that when someone knocks on the door and they need help, you make them a peanut butter sandwich, at least.
Wow.
And that's a role model that's meant a lot to me. I think has framed a lot of how I think about our work and community.
So when you go back in time in the lineage of your family, your grandfather was a minister?
Yes.
Was anyone above him or before him a minister too, or he was the first one?
He was the first one.
I wonder what touched him to join the ministry.
Well, his mother died in childbirth, and he was raised by his sisters. I think the church probably had a significant role in developing him and helping him become the man that he was.
How wonderful. What a great family history you have.
Thank you.
No, fantastic. And do you have siblings?
I have an older sister and a younger brother.
And are they in the nonprofit space, or what do they do?
So my brother's a software engineer, working for the state of Maine. My sister actually is a consultant and works with churches on stewardship and on financial acumen for pastors.
How wonderful. Holy cow. I feel like I'm in, let's see, why gave my, look at that. The YMCA gave my wife her first job. It was practically a second home growing up as a kid. Alejandro, thank you for saying that to us and sharing it, because my hunch is that's the type of experience that the YMCA really has for people, much broader. There'll always be something that's, not
of course
a good one, but at the end of the day, all the positivity that exists, we can't lose sight of that.
Well, we're the first employer for hundreds and thousands of young people. I run into people all the time who would tell me I had my first job at the YMCA. I learned skills. I learned what it meant to show up to work and to be accountable and to manage a paycheck and to follow and create rules and to advocate. All that kind of stuff, I think, is an important role the Y plays when it comes to workforce development.
How fantastic. And the people, when they are hired, is a turnover kind of, it's a young person's type of place.
Right.
I guess, is it a career for some people?
Well, yeah, of course. For me, I was a part-time lifeguard when I started.
You were a part-time lifeguard when you started the YMCA?
I was.
Come on.
And I met the youth and family director, and she explained what her job was, talked about this is actually a career-oriented, organization. That was when the light turned on for me.
Wow.
Here's my ministry.
No wonder you're so like fit and trim, and you look with great color. And if I could only have your hair, think what I could do. I mean, because look, don't think I want to be like this, Houston, Harris County. And of course, for all the people that don't have hair, I love you. But I mean, I just want your hair. Anyways, come back to the show. But going back, so interesting about your parents and your siblings and so forth. Do you miss Columbus?
Columbus was awesome, and we really loved it there. We have dear friends that we still go back every year for some music shows and some social time with friends that we met there. My real roots are deep in Maine.
Maine.
I spent the first 40 years of my life in Maine, and so my family gathers there every summer, and I get a chance to reunite with everyone.
How wonderful! And do you have kids?
I have 2 daughters.
And how old are your daughters?
31 and 32, and I got one that lives in Boston and one that lives in LA. And so we've got all the coasts covered.
Oh my
East Coast,
God.
West Coast, and Gulf Coast.
That is so great. And so are they married or anything like that or not?
My younger daughter is married. My older daughter is not.
And do you have any grandkids or anything?
Not yet.
Well, you know what? Of course, I have, everyone knows because we talk about it on the show here. I have 4 kids. And of course, my oldest is Andrew, and he and his wife are married. And then my next is Daniel Thomas, and he's on Wall Street, and he's been there about 3 years. And then my next, Ben Garcia, the Wrecking Machine, is, I love you, Ben. He is going to be a senior at LSU.
Mm-hmm.
And then my princess,
Mm-hmm.
Juju Garcia, she is going to be starting at U Chicago in the fall. And Stephen, I am crying already.
I bet.
This is my stay up buddy. We watch late night, horror flicks and oh my God, I don't know what I'm going to do. I think my wife and I are going to stare at each other at dinner. And then we're going to say, you know what? Let's call the kids.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen.
I can tell you my experience.
Tell me.
We became kids again. We became teenagers again when our kids left the house, and our social life is different, and it's something worth looking forward to.
No kidding. Yeah. Well, I guess there's light at the end of the tunnel because I've been dreading it.
Yeah.
And now, don't get me wrong, I love my wife, but I mean, it's going to be so quiet
for a short period of time till they start visiting, or one of them moves into your basement.
There you have it. So let's go back to the why. Besides youth soccer, what are the other sort of youth programs? And is there anything like I'm making it up right now because I don't know, youth painting or youth drama or youth martial arts? I mean, tell us about all the youth programs.
Yeah, so we found that our relevance matters, and so we started doing a whole lot of STEM work, and we have a mobile maker space that goes to many of our Ys, and we do 3D printing, we do robotics, the kinds of things that kids are not having access to, we make sure they have access to, many times in neighborhoods and communities where they wouldn't, because we can bring it to them. We have a robust camping programs. We have 25 different campsites for day camp. About 4,000 kids this summer participated in YMCA summer we call it summer enrichment, better known as day camp.
Yep.
So it's a great way for parents to have a safe place for their kids, but we weave in education, learning to swim, and it's the social skills, the ability to be in relationship with other kids and to build that network for themselves. We also have a whole series of enrichment kind of activities like you just described, and each center will do a different variation of that. But yes, we have painting and we have art, and we have some of these basically not an ongoing course, but like a 1 week or a Saturday that people come in and get exposed to those other things. We think it's important that we meet people where they are. And there's a lot of people who might not be just so attuned to sports, but the idea of practicing a skill set or learning about robotics with other kids still gets us to the same place. So George Williams did it with prayer time and Bible study. We do it with a whole bunch of other more contemporary tools in addition to, we still do Bible study at some of our Ys.
I had forgotten to, you just brought it up. When I was a boy, I did YMCA day camp. I can't believe I forgot. Maybe that's my senior moment, Houston and Harris County. But no, I remember, and I remember what a blast it was.
Yeah.
How amazing. Well, let's go back for something because, when you think about youth programs, somehow your mind always thinks about sports.
Right.
But to hear things of the mind like robotics, I congratulate you. That is so amazing to get the kids involved in something that they probably may not be able to get at school.
We're doing some structured e-gaming in a couple of our locations. So, safe and supervised and organized. We also have this whole idea of a ninja course, American Ninja you see on TV. So at a number of our Ys, we've created these little mini ninja experiences for young people. And so the idea is be contemporary, be relevant. Soccer is a soccer game, but we also have mini pitches at a couple of our Ys where it's just a small space to get lots of touches on the ball, which is really about youth development and learning skills.
Wonderful. Let's go back to something, because when you think about some of these items, robotics, is it like, because I'm embarrassed to say, I'm not so sure I know what it is, other than you make robots, like circuits and things together and make things move. And do you have, like, I'm making this up because I don't know, an obstacle course, and your job is to go to there and there and there and pick something up and come back, and how fast can you do it? I have no idea.
Exactly. Great competitions, but people learn to control these remote control kind of, sometimes it's just a little ball that moves around. But the idea is learning about robotics, but also being in that cool state of robotics.
It's super cool. I need to go take that class.
All right, we'll work it out for you.
I need to be there. I think we already have another caller. Ernie, are you there?
Yes, Gilbert.
How are you?
Monday.
Well, happy Monday to you, and welcome to A Tip from Me, Talking Spiritual Prayer with Mr. Stephen Ives. What do you got about the YMCA today?
Oh, Mr. Wise, Ives, I'm so proud that you're on the station today, because Gilbert is a true believer in community access for families. And I have to tell you, I come from a family of 10, and my mother had 6 boys that she threw at the Y, and they survived because of basketball. They're all over 6 feet. The tallest one is 6'5". And I'm telling you, that basketball program saved our life in the summer. Fantastic. I have so much excitement when I think of the Y, because I spent a lot of time there. And also, one of my dear friends, and Gilbert still friends, Cambro Marshall, he was a big supporter of the Y. He was a team leader. He was also a chairman of the board. And I learned so much about the Y through him after I graduated college. And I still make a commitment. One of my best girlfriends is running the Y that's in local Midtown. I have a great appreciation for the success that you continue to build for the community. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
But most importantly, identify that funding, because that funding is perfect for the Y, that is given by the United States, is given locally to Texas, is given through the Houston Endowment. I'm so proud of the United Way, who always benefits the Y. And just stay on top of that, because there's so many new philanthropists that are trying to give. And I know that you have to maintain a focus on that. So I wanted to make sure you knew that. I'm sure that you do, but it's a great thing to repeat.
Thank you for the encouragement.
I'm a nonprofit guru, and I'm telling you, that is the way to go, is really through philanthropic interest.
Thank you.
And Ernie, you were one of 10?
Yes.
Oh my God. And how tall did you say they were?
My shortest brother is 6 foot. I mean, they're all between 6 and 6'5". They're all giants.
My God. And I can just
they're the tallest Mexicans you'll ever see.
And I remember, well, you know what? I'm not so sure that's saying a lot, but I can say that, but that's okay. I
love that she talked about the impact.
Yeah,
not just learning to play basketball. And I think when you say that it saved their lives, it meant that gave them a positive place to be and good connections and friends.
Well, yeah, because
all the
back
things
then we only had one air conditioner back then, and we'd run to the Y. Let's go get cool.
Well, and I love when you say, and I know what you mean when you just say, my parents would dump my 6 brothers. What you meant is it gave them a place to go, especially in the summertime.
Right. And plus we had good manners. I mean, my mother would always say, when you go out into the community, you better have manners. It's yes, sir, no, sir. And the Y reflected that. It reflected, we were very, we're Catholic. I mean, it was a very big thing to us. You go to church on Sunday, you go to the Y, during the week in the summers, and it was very much our culture. My mom brought us up that way. And we used to do things like volunteer at the Y. My brothers would teach the camp. They ended up teaching the basketball camps. Many of them played high school basketball. So, I mean, there is a real fruition that comes through the Y and on your dreams as kids, whatever you would like to be. I really believe that connection. And I have so much praise for the Y. I really do.
Amen for that. And so do I. Ernie, thank you for calling in.
Thank you for doing what you do.
You got it. We have another caller there. Is there a Madison there? Hello? Madison. Okay, let me come. Madison, are you there, Miss Madison? Well, waiting for Madison. Madison, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
You got me. A tough tip from me, Gilbert Garcia, with Mr. Stephen Ives of the YMCA. What do you got for us today?
Oh, great. Okay, well, hi, Mr. Ives. I have a question around sustainability and the YMCA. So I'm interested in learning what initiatives the YMCA has when it comes to sustainability, or what are your thoughts around moving toward greener innovation in the future?
Yeah, the best thing we can do is introduce children and young adults and adults to the outdoors and the beauty of being in the outdoors and what it means spiritually for our own grounding and our development as humans. So Camp Cullen, which is up in Livingston, is a residential camp. We have geology courses, we have nature courses, and we also teach young people in the schools. We have a number of schools that partner with us for environmental education. I think as much as we can increase young people's awareness around their environment, what it matters, how impactful and influential it is to their success in life, the better we can do. That's the role we're playing in terms of educating and awareness and exposure, if you will, to the outdoors.
I think it's all about appreciation. When you see nature at its finest, it's amazing.
Right.
It's just amazing. And, when you think about incredible creation, it makes you wonder and think about, well, then there must be a creator.
Right.
Because it's just too perfect.
Well, and if you fall in love with nature,
Mhm.
you're going to be more likely to advocate for that thing that you love so much.
Amen for that. Madison, what say you on that?
I completely agree. I've been to a couple of talks at Rice University where they're discussing the future of, the use of oil and gas, or just kind of sustainable initiatives going forward. So something I always ask them is, what are your thoughts on education? Because I think that teaching kids are the future. So I think if you can educate, the kids that are in school right now and who are going to be contributing to those problems when they're going to be at their greatest, is the most important thing we can do. So that's great to hear from you.
Well, thank you, Madison. Remember that song by Whitney Houston? I think it's Whitney Houston. I believe the children are our future. Remember that one?
I do.
Thank you so much, Madison, for calling in.
And for getting Gilbert
Thank
to sing
you.
again.
There you go. There you go. I'm just getting started, Houston and Harris County. You know that. All right. We already have two more callers. Oh, do you have a follow-up there?
One more question.
Yes,
We have
yes.
another person on the line.
Oh, good. Let's go.
Mr. Ives, I was curious as to how the YMCA chooses which initiatives to take on and which partnerships to make.
Yeah, thank you for that. Well, we do strategic planning and we identify we look at what our strengths are, what we can do well, and we let that guide us in terms of what we do for activities and programs. So it's about our skill set, our capability, what we can do best. And then when it comes to choosing partners, it's who can do that thing that's needed best that we can just provide space for. So a great example is Second Servings does a fantastic job with food distribution and this shopping experience. We're partnering with them in our gyms to be able to provide shopping experiences for the public. So the Y becomes the space. They're the experts at delivering that service. We have roller skating in some of our Ys.
Wow.
Y people are not roller skating instructors.
Yeah.
We partner with another organization. So we look for partners that bring a skill set that fills in or fills a gap between what we can do internally and what's needed and wanted in the community. And our spaces become that conduit for it all to happen.
Wow. What say you there, Miss Madison, second person there? I didn't get your name, but you go ahead and tell. What else? You got a follow-up?
Yes, I recently read that you guys, as in the YMCA, did an initiative to gather backpacks for donation, and also that you created a partnership with the Bezos Foundation. So I was curious how that tied into my previous question of what made you choose these two routes.
Yeah, we felt like as the YMCA, people believe in us and trust us. We have access to a lot of families, and we work with a lot of families that have that kind of a need. So that connected the dots around the backpack initiative that we have. Something we've been doing for a number of years. We're very proud of, and it's about school readiness. So we're in the business of helping young people gain the skills they need to be successful in school. And this is about giving them the tools they need. The partnership with Bezos is really around our youth and government initiative. So we haven't touched on this yet, but we're very involved in the state of Texas with our youth and government program about helping to develop next generation leaders, civic leaders. And so they practice running for office. They practice signing and debating bills. And we do it in Austin. There's an event that happens every year. And the idea is to expose young people to that experience, to make it less scary, more likely that more people will participate and get engaged.
And that way they can fall in love with it.
Yeah.
Because, like anything else, Houston, when you like something, you're going to be good at it.
Or when you've been exposed to it,
That's
you're not
right.
going to be scared to try it.
Amen for that. We have interns here every summer. Actually, we have 22. There's 11 and 11 in 2 different sessions. And some of them want to go in the business. Some of them do not. At the end of the day, we just want to expose them to this industry, expose them to a professional organization. And then we did our job and to teach them something, whether it's presentation skills and the like. So thank you all very much for that call. Was there another caller or no there? Okay, we're good. Houston, we got more time. If you got more time, 832-570-8075. You said something interesting because, you hear about this, but what is a 3D printer? I mean,
it's a magical thing.
Right? It is.
Basically takes material and you can program into it what you want to create, and it creates it. I saw in one of our centers a whole dinosaur head inside this glass case that had been created by this computer program. And so it's taking material and using that to print an object versus just printing ink on paper.
I mean, it's mind-boggling.
It is.
It's like, where's this going to go next? Next thing you know, it's going to be like, alive.
Yeah.
Something's going to just be alive.
Yeah.
Or like in Star Trek where they would push a button and all of a sudden a thing would open it up and there was their food already cooked and everything just right there.
Well, similar to your previous point, kids being exposed to this early on and being aware and having access to it. Many kids in some neighborhoods just would never see that if it weren't for the Y bringing it to them and saying, hey, here's a cool thing that's possible. And so their exposure to it makes it less scary or risky in the future for them to engage with.
Amen. I think Houston and Harris County, what you're really hearing is we need the YMCA. And you know what? We need it probably more than ever.
I would agree.
These are difficult times. And I'm not trying to be political. Everybody knows my political persuasion and those sorts of things. But at the end of the day, that's not what it's about. These are just difficult times where there's challenges about people don't agree, whether it's challenges about what's happening with conflict and the wars in the world, whether it's difficulties about the environment, all those things that we've talked about earlier, whether it's difficulty of young people, how they navigate in this new technology, all the things going on in AI, how do they grow up in an environment like that to become good, grounded citizens? I mean, it's all of that.
I talk to groups all the time, and there's universal agreement from everyone I've talked to that this deep division is unhealthy and not good for our community. We may disagree on who's at fault or what the solution is, but an organization like the Y and others building bridges and creating opportunities for people of all different walks and backgrounds and all different political leanings to be in space, participating in programs. It's one of the reasons we try to stay out of the political discussion. We stay in the people discussion.
Amen to that. I've had people know I've worked, across the aisle, things of that nature, because I always focus on what are the things we have in common,
right? And
the things that we don't have in common, well, we'll worry about that later.
Right.
But let's just focus on things we have in common. Let's make those things better and make that the priority. And if we get past we solved all the priority and made it better, well, then we'll get to the differences. But it's about working together because we all want the same things, a better life for ourselves, our family, and our kids. We all want the same thing. Charlotte, I see you on there. Charlotte, she said, let's support the YMCA. Charlotte, I thank you for that.
Thank you,
and
Charlotte.
Of course, there's lots of things that people have been saying all along the way. I just happened to get that one that said Charlotte. Katie, happy beginning of the week. Thank you, Katie. I see that one too. Let's see. Please support nonprofits. Alfred, YMCA can do an amazing service to help our community. I'm just reading all these things that people have said. Hannah Cisneros, Gilbert Garcia, good morning. We are tuned in from Denver Harbor. Well, thank you for that, Hannah. I think I want to just, as we start wrapping up, Dominic, there were Ys near rail cars, so train crews have a bed and a meal between runs away from home. Dominic, he's of course someone that we know in the community. He's very involved with mass transit and so forth. Very interesting observation, Dominic. So I thank you for sharing that. I just want to now, as we start wrapping up, because there's an old show called Carol Burnett. Remember Carol Burnett?
I do.
And at the end, she'd always have that song, I'm so glad we had this time together, and it would say, to have a laugh and say, and just before we, whatever comes a time, we have to say, so long.
So long.
It's an hour.
Yeah, already.
It's already an hour.
Wow.
We could have done this for like 3 hours. We could have done this for 3 days. And you know why? Because the mission of the Y never ends, because there's so much that is needed in the community. There's so many needs, and the Y is doing I don't know the right word, yeoman's work, if that's even a word.
Sure.
You hear that, but a yeoman's job of helping in their own way to solve these issues that are so complex and they're so deep, but yet the fundamentals are so clear, which starts with just love and building relationships. It just starts with that.
Exactly.
And then it grows from there. I'm going to give you the next 2 or 3 minutes. If you want to look in that camera, talk about anything that's going on. And please give us your website. How do people get engaged if they want to volunteer? How do they get engaged? And I'll say it, we need to raise money for the YMCA. Because we need the Y to grow and prosper. So how do people give money?
Sure.
All those things.
Sure.
Right there to the camera.
You can always find us at ymcahouston.org. Our website's got lots of opportunities to learn about our after-school programs, which we're registering for right now, as well as our various youth programs and sports as they come about. But I think the most important thing I want to share is that your YMCA is focused on the future. We're focused on becoming better, learning from where we stumble, and also learning from our community around what's needed most and how we become the most impactful, most innovative, creative organization, solving the most important needs in our community. So we're always in search of volunteers to serve on boards or to coach. And coaching is a good thing, Gilbert.
Yes.
And you'll get as much out of that as you put into it. And we're looking forward to engaging with you. YMCAHouston.org to learn more. So
you know what they say. It's fun to say at the YMCA. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. Houston, Harris County, go visit your neighborhood YMCA. Go learn. Go get involved. You know what? It's going to change your way you look at things, because you're going to see the beauty of humanity right there. This is Gilbert Garcia with the Tip Reed saying, we'll see you next time. All right, Houston, Harris County, this is Gilbert Garcia of A Tip from Gilbert, Talk, Inspiration, and Prayer. We're going to now be on television. We will air every Saturday on Comcast 17, AT&T Channel 99, Phonoscope Channel 96, Suddenlink 99, and also HMSTV.org. Every new episode every Saturday at 7 p.m. And follow me on social media. See you then.